My name is Rachel Bennett. I'm 27 years old. And on October 3rd, 2024 at 2:47 p.m., I stood in my mother's kitchen in Boulder, Colorado, holding my phone with shaking hands, trying not to panic. I had a medical appointment at UC Health University of Colorado Hospital in Aurora scheduled for 4:30 p.m. The appointment I'd been waiting 6 months to get. An MRI and consultation with a neurologist about the migraines that had been getting worse for the past year. Migraines so severe I'd blacked out twice at work. Migraines that left me unable to see out of my left eye for hours at a time. My car, a 2011 Toyota Camry, was in the shop. The transmission had failed 2 days earlier on Highway 36. The repair cost was $3,800 and wouldn't be ready for another week. I'd taken an Uber to my mother's house, $47 one way, thinking I could borrow a car to get to my appointment. My sister Madison was sitting at the kitchen table scrolling through her phone. Her car, a 2020 Honda CR-V that my parents had co-signed for, was parked in the driveway. She'd taken the day off work to go shopping with our mother. "Madison," I said, "I need to borrow your car. Just for a few hours. I have a hospital appointment in Aurora at 4:30. She didn't look up from her phone. "No, it's a medical appointment. I've been waiting 6 months for this. If I miss it, I'll have to wait another 6 months to reschedule. Not my problem. Figure it out." I looked at my mother, who was standing at the counter chopping vegetables for dinner. "Mom?" She kept chopping. "Madison needs her car, Rachel. She has plans." "What plans?" "You're both here doing nothing." Madison finally looked up. "We're going to Park Meadows Mall at 5 o'clock. I'm not giving you my car and having to wait around for you to get back. The appointment is at 4:30. I'll be back by 7 o'clock at the latest. You'll have your car. What if you're late? What if something happens? What if you get in an accident? Then my insurance goes up." "No. Find another way." "I don't have another way. My car is in the shop. Take an Uber." An Uber to Aurora is $90 one way. "I can't afford that." Madison shrugged. "That's not my problem." I turned to my mother again. "Mom, please. I need this appointment." She set down her knife and looked at me with that expression I'd seen my entire life. The one that said I was being dramatic, inconvenient, asking for too much. "Rachel, you're 27 years old. You should have a backup plan for situations like this. Madison has the right to say no. It's her car. It's a car you and Dad co-signed for. And she makes the payments." That wasn't entirely true. My parents had been making the payments for the first 18 months until Madison got her current job. But I didn't argue. "So, what am I supposed to do?" "Figure it out," Madison said, going back to her phone. I stood there for another moment, waiting for one of them to change their minds. They didn't. "Okay," I said. I walked out of the house. I sat on the front steps and called the hospital. I canceled my appointment. The scheduler told me the next available slot was April 17th, 2025. 6 months away. I took it. Then I called an Uber to take me back to my apartment in Louisville, a suburb 20 miles away. Cost $53. I sat in the back of that Uber and I made a decision. I was done asking my family for help. Done expecting anything from them. Done pretending we were the kind of family who showed up for each other. What my mother and sister didn't know was that the medical appointment wasn't just about migraines. 3 weeks earlier, on September 12th, I'd collapsed at work. I was a data analyst at a tech company called Beacon Systems in Boulder. I'd been in a meeting presenting quarterly analytics when my vision went dark and I hit the floor. I woke up in an ambulance. The EMTs said I'd been unconscious for 4 minutes. The ER doctor at Boulder Community Health ran tests. CT scan, blood work, EKG. Everything came back normal except for one thing. My white blood cell count was elevated. Not dangerously high, but higher than it should be. "It could be nothing," the doctor said. "Stress, an infection your body is fighting off. But given your symptoms, the migraines, the vision loss, the fainting, I want you to see a neurologist. Get an MRI. Rule out anything serious." When I asked what anything serious meant, he listed possibilities. A brain tumor. Multiple sclerosis. An aneurysm. "Probably nothing," he said again. "But we should check." I'd told my mother about the ER visit. I'd told her the doctor wanted me to see a neurologist. Her response, "You're probably just dehydrated. You never drink enough water." I didn't tell Madison. We weren't close. We'd never been close. The appointment I'd just canceled was supposed to answer the question, what's wrong with me? And now I'd have to wait another 6 months to find out. The next day, October 4th, 2024, I woke up at 6:30 a.m. in my apartment. I'd barely slept. My head was pounding. I took 800 milligrams of ibuprofen and got ready for work. At 9:15 a.m., I was at my desk at Beacon Systems when my phone buzzed. A text from Madison. "Where are you?" I stared at the screen, confused. I texted back, "At work." "Why?" "Mom fell. She's in the ER. I need you to come watch her while I go back to work." I read the message 3 times. She needed me to come watch our mother in the ER so she could go back to work. The same sister who'd refused to let me borrow her car for a hospital appointment 18 hours earlier. I texted back, "Is she okay?" She tripped on the stairs. Might have broken her ankle. "They're doing x-rays. Can you come?" "I'm at work." "Can you leave?" "Not easily." "What hospital?" "Boulder Community." "What about Dad?" "He's in Denver at a conference. He can't leave until tonight." I sat at my desk, staring at my phone. Part of me wanted to say no. Wanted to type back, "Not my problem. Figure it out." The exact words Madison had said to me yesterday. But I didn't. I texted, "I'll see if I can leave early. Give me an hour." I went to my manager's office. I explained the situation. She let me leave at 10 a.m. I drove to Boulder Community Health, the same ER where I'd been taken 3 weeks earlier. I found my mother in a room in the emergency department, her right ankle wrapped and elevated. Madison was sitting in a chair next to her, scrolling through her phone. "What happened?" I asked. "She missed a step coming down the stairs," Madison said without looking up. "It's not broken, just a bad sprain. They're giving her crutches and a prescription for pain meds. She'll be fine." "Okay. So why did you need me to come?" "Because I have to go back to work. Someone needs to drive her home and help her get settled. You took the day off yesterday to go shopping." "That was planned. This is an emergency. And I left work in the middle of the day to be here." Madison finally looked up. "Do you want to help or not?" I looked at my mother. She was scrolling through her phone too, not paying attention to either of us. "Mom, do you need me to stay?" She glanced up. "If you can, that would be helpful. I don't think I can manage the stairs on my own with these crutches." Madison stood up. "Great. Thanks, Rachel. I have to go. I have a meeting at 1 o'clock. She left. I stayed with my mother for the next 5 hours. I drove her home in her car, a 2019 Subaru Outback. I helped her up the stairs. I filled her prescriptions at Walgreens. I made her lunch. I set up a small station in the living room with water, her medications, the TV remote, and her phone charger within reach. At 4:30 p.m., the exact time I was supposed to have been at my neurologist appointment, I was sitting in my mother's living room watching HGTV with her while she dozed on the couch. My phone buzzed. A text from Madison. "Is Mom okay?" I texted back, "Yes. She's resting." "Good. Can you stay until Dad gets home? He won't be back until 8 o'clock. I looked at the time. It was 4:47 p.m. That was another 3 hours. I need to get back to my apartment. I have work tomorrow. Please? I don't want her to be alone. I typed and deleted 4 different responses. Finally, I just wrote, "Okay." I stayed until 8 p.m. My father arrived, thanked me briefly, and turned on the news. I drove back to my apartment. I'd been gone for 10 hours. I hadn't eaten anything except a granola bar I'd found in my mother's pantry. The next day, October 5th, I woke up with another migraine. This one was worse. The left side of my vision was completely dark. I couldn't see anything except shadows and light. I called in sick to work. I spent the day in bed with the curtains drawn. By 3 p.m., the vision in my left eye started to come back. By 6 p.m., it was mostly normal. I didn't tell my mother. I didn't tell Madison. I just lay there in the dark and thought about the MRI I wasn't getting. The answers I wouldn't have for another 6 months. 2 weeks later, on October 19th, 2024, Madison called me at 9 p.m. Rachel, I need a favor. I was on my couch watching Netflix. What kind of favor? I need to borrow $1,200. I muted the TV. For what? My car payment is due and I'm short this month. I had some unexpected expenses. What expenses? Just stuff. Can you help me or not? Madison, I can't afford to lend you $1,200 right now. My car repair was $3,800. I'm still paying that off. I'll pay you back next month. You said that last time. There was a pause. What are you talking about? Last April. You borrowed $600 for your insurance. You said you'd pay me back in May. It's October. I forgot about that. I didn't. So you're saying no? I'm saying I can't afford it. Whatever, Rachel. I'll figure it out. She hung up. 30 minutes later, my mother called. Rachel, Madison told me you refused to help her with her car payment. I didn't refuse. I said I can't afford it. You have a good job. You can afford $1,200. I have bills, Mom. I have my own car payment to catch up on. Madison is family. Family helps each other. I almost laughed. Where was that energy when I needed to borrow her car 2 weeks ago? That was different. How? She needed her car that day. And I needed a ride to a medical appointment I'd waited 6 months for. You could have taken an Uber. I did. It cost me $100 round trip. And I still missed my appointment. That's not Madison's fault. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying I don't have $1,200 to lend her right now. If she misses her car payment, it'll hurt her credit. Then maybe she should budget better. My mother's voice went cold. That's a cruel thing to say. It's honest. I'm disappointed in you, Rachel. She hung up. I sat on my couch in my quiet apartment, and I realized something. My mother had never once said she was disappointed in Madison. Not when Madison dropped out of college after 1 semester. Not when she quit 3 jobs in 2 years. Not when she racked up $8,000 in credit card debt buying clothes and going to concerts. But me? The one with a stable job, a college degree, an apartment I paid for myself? I was the disappointment. On November 2nd, 2024, I had another episode at work. I was in a meeting when my vision started to go. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, and collapsed. A coworker found me 10 minutes later. They called 911. I woke up in Boulder Community Health for the second time in 2 months. Same ER. Different doctor. This time, they admitted me overnight for observation. They ran more tests. MRI, EEG, more blood work. I spent 18 hours in a hospital bed while doctors tried to figure out what was wrong with me. The neurologist on call, Dr. Sarah Patel, came to see me the next morning. We found something on your MRI, she said. My stomach dropped. What? A small lesion on your frontal lobe. It's about 8 millimeters. It could be a benign growth, a cyst, or something more concerning. We need to do a follow-up MRI in 6 weeks and possibly a biopsy. What's the worst-case scenario? A tumor. But let's not jump to conclusions. Many of these turn out to be nothing. We'll monitor it closely. She scheduled the follow-up MRI for December 18th. She prescribed medication for the migraines. She told me to avoid stress and get plenty of rest. I called my mother from the hospital. Mom, I'm at Boulder Community. They found something on my MRI. What kind of something? A lesion on my brain. They don't know what it is yet. I have to come back in 6 weeks for another scan. There was a pause. Is it serious? They don't know. It might be nothing. It might be a tumor. Another pause. Do you need me to come get you? No. They're discharging me in an hour. I can get an Uber. Okay. Let me know what the next doctor says. She hung up. She didn't ask how I was feeling. She didn't offer to come sit with me. She didn't say she was worried. She just said, let me know what the next doctor says. I took an Uber home. $51. On November 8th, Madison texted me, did you send Mom flowers for her birthday? I'd completely forgotten. Our mother's birthday was November 7th. I'd been so focused on my health, on work, on trying to keep my life together, that her birthday had slipped my mind entirely. I texted back, no. I forgot. I'll send something today. Madison, too late. Her birthday was yesterday. She noticed you didn't call or send anything. She's upset. I'll call her and apologize. You should. She does a lot for you. I stared at that message for a long time. She does a lot for you. What, exactly, had my mother done for me? She'd refused to let me borrow a car for a hospital appointment. She'd guilt me into lending money to Madison. She'd shown no concern when I told her about a lesion on my brain. But I'd forgotten her birthday, so I was the bad daughter. I called her. Mom, I'm so sorry I missed your birthday. I've had a lot going on. I know you're busy, Rachel. But a phone call takes 2 minutes. You're right. I should have called. I'm sorry. Madison sent me flowers and took me to lunch. That's nice. It would have been nice to hear from you too. I know. I'm sorry. We hung up. I ordered flowers online and had them delivered that afternoon. $87 with delivery. On December 18, 2024, I went back to UC Health for my follow-up MRI. I went alone. I didn't tell my mother or Madison. I'd learned by now that telling them wouldn't change anything except add their stress to mine. The MRI took 45 minutes. I lay in the machine listening to the loud thumping sounds, trying not to move, trying not to think about what they might find. Dr. Patel called me 3 days later with the results. The lesion hasn't grown. That's good news. It's still 8 millimeters, no change in size or shape. We're going to continue monitoring it, but for now, it appears stable. So it's not a tumor? We can't say definitively without a biopsy, but the fact that it hasn't grown in 6 weeks is encouraging. Many tumors would show growth in that time frame. My recommendation is to repeat the MRI in 3 months and go from there. Okay. How are the migraines? Better. The medication is helping. Good. Continue the medication and let me know if anything changes. I hung up and sat in my car in the hospital parking lot. The lesion was stable. It wasn't growing. That was good. But I still didn't know what it was. And I'd have to keep coming back every 3 months to check. I drove home and didn't tell anyone about the results. Not my mother. Not Madison. No one. On December 24th, 2024, Christmas Eve, I drove to my parents' house for dinner. Madison and her boyfriend Kyle were already there when I arrived. My father was watching football in the living room. My mother was in the kitchen making lasagna. Rachel, you're late, she said when I walked in. I was 15 minutes late. Traffic on Highway 36 had been terrible. Sorry. Traffic. Dinner is at 6 o'clock. We're eating in 10 minutes. I'll help set the table. Madison came into the kitchen. Mom, where do you want me to put the gifts? Under the tree. Rachel, did you bring gifts? I had. I'd spent $240 on gifts for my parents, Madison, and Kyle. A cashmere scarf for my mother. A book about Colorado hiking trails for my father. A gift card to Sephora for Madison. A bottle of bourbon for Kyle. They're in the car. I'll grab them after dinner. We ate lasagna at the dining room table. My father asked Kyle about his job. Kyle worked in sales for a software company and made $120,000 a year. My father was impressed. Madison beamed. No one asked me about my job. No one asked about my health. No one mentioned the MRI. After dinner, we opened gifts. My mother loved the scarf. My father said the book looked interesting. Madison said thank you for the gift card, but mentioned she'd wanted the new Dyson Airwrap, which cost $600. Then it was my turn to open gifts. From my parents, a $50 Amazon gift card. From Madison, nothing. I didn't know what to get you, she said with a shrug. I smiled and said thank you for the Amazon gift card. I did not mention that I'd spent $240 on gifts and received $50 in return. I did not mention that Madison had received a $75 gift card from me and given me nothing. I left at 8:30 p.m. and drove home. On January 14, 2025, my car was paid off. I'd been making payments for 5 years and the final payment cleared. I owned my 2011 Camry outright. That same week, I got a promotion at work. Senior Data Analyst. My salary increased from $78,000 to $94,000 a year. I didn't tell my family about either. On February 9, 2025, Madison called me. Rachel, I need to ask you something. What? Kyle and I are getting married. Congratulations. We're planning the wedding for September. I want you to be a bridesmaid. I didn't want to be a bridesmaid. Madison and I barely spoke. We hadn't had a real conversation in years. But saying no would cause drama. Okay, great. The dresses are $250. We're doing navy blue. I'll send you the link. Okay. Also, I'm doing a bachelorette party in Scottsdale in July. It's going to be 4 days. I'll send you the details. How much will that cost? Probably around $1,200 per person. Hotel, flights, activities, meals. I did the math in my head. $250 for the dress. $1,200 for the bachelorette party. Plus a wedding gift, probably another $150 minimum. Total, $1,600. I'll have to check my schedule, I said. Rachel, you have to come. You're my sister. I'll let you know. On February 23rd, 2025, I had another MRI. The lesion was still stable. Still 8 millimeters. Dr. Patel said we'd continue monitoring every 3 months, but she was increasingly confident it was benign. I went home and cried with relief. On March 3rd, 2025, Madison sent me the details for her bachelorette party. July 17th through July 20th, Scottsdale, Arizona. Luxury Airbnb. Pool party. Spa day. Clubbing. The itinerary looked like an influencer vacation. The cost breakdown, $480 for flights. $350 for the Airbnb split between 8 people. $200 for the spa. $150 for clubbing and bars. $120 for meals. Total, $1,300. Plus the bridesmaid dress, $250. Plus a wedding gift, minimum $150. Total, $1,700. I looked at my savings account. I had $14,800 saved. I'd been building it slowly for 3 years, putting away $400 a month. It was my emergency fund. The fund that had covered Ubers to the hospital, medical copays, and the car repair. I could afford $1,700. Technically. But I didn't want to spend it on Madison's bachelorette party. On a sister who'd refused to lend me her car when I needed a ride to the hospital. On a sister who'd borrowed $600 and never paid it back. On a sister who'd given me nothing for Christmas while I'd spent $75 on her. On March 10th, 2025, I texted Madison, I can't make the bachelorette party. I can't afford it right now. She called me immediately. What do you mean you can't afford it? You have a good job. I have bills, Madison. Medical bills. I can't spend $1,300 on a weekend trip. It's my bachelorette party. You're my sister. I know. And I'll be at your wedding. But I can't do Scottsdale. Everyone else is coming. I'm happy for you. But I can't afford it. You're so selfish. She hung up. 10 minutes later, my mother called. Rachel, Madison is very upset. I know. She wants you at her bachelorette party. And I can't afford to go. Can't or won't. Both. This is her wedding. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. And I'll be at the wedding. But I can't spend $1,300 on a bachelorette party. You spent money on your car. You spend money on rent. You can find money for this. My car needed a new transmission. My rent keeps me from being homeless. Those aren't optional expenses. Family isn't optional either. Then maybe Madison should have thought about that when I needed to borrow her car. There was a long silence. You're still holding on to that? Yes. That was months ago. And I had to wait 6 more months for a medical appointment because she wouldn't lend me her car for 3 hours. So yes, I'm still holding on to it. You're being petty. I'm being honest. She hung up. On March 18th, 2025, Madison sent a group text to all the bridesmaids. 8 of us total. Hey ladies! Just a reminder that bachelorette payments are due by April 1st. Please Venmo me $1,300 ASAP so I can book everything. 7 responses came in within an hour. All confirmed. All paid. I didn't respond. On March 25th, Madison texted me privately. Did you see my message about bachelorette payments? Yes. Are you paying? No. I told you I can't go. So you're just not coming to my bachelorette party? Correct. Mom's paying for her portion. I'm sure she'd help you if you asked. I'm not asking Mom for money to go to Scottsdale. Why are you being like this? Like what? Difficult. Unsupportive. I stared at my phone. I thought about all the times I'd supported Madison. The $600 loan she never repaid. The 10 hours I spent caring for our mother when Madison needed to go back to work. The Christmas gift I bought while she gave me nothing. I'm not being difficult, I typed. I'm being realistic about what I can afford. Whatever, Rachel. Don't come. On April 12, 2025, I went dress shopping with Madison and the bridesmaids. The appointment was at a bridal shop in Cherry Creek. I drove 45 minutes to get there. Madison had already picked the dress. Navy blue, floor length, off the shoulder. It cost $250 plus $40 for alterations. I tried it on. It fit. I ordered it. I paid $290 total. Afterward, Madison suggested we all get lunch. The group went to a restaurant in Cherry Creek. The bill came to $68 per person. I'd budgeted for the dress. I hadn't budgeted for a $68 lunch. I ordered a side salad and water. $14. Madison noticed. That's all you're getting? I'm not that hungry. We're celebrating. Get something real. I'm fine with this. She rolled her eyes, but didn't push. On May 20th, 2025, I had another MRI. The lesion was still stable. Dr. Patel said we could start spacing the scans to every 6 months instead of every 3. I'm confident this is a benign cyst, she said. It's not growing, it's not causing new symptoms, and your migraines are well controlled with medication. We'll keep monitoring, but I don't anticipate any issues. I cried in my car again, this time from relief. On June 15, 2025, Madison got married. The wedding was at a venue in the mountains outside Boulder. It was beautiful, expensive, over the top. I wore my $290 navy bridesmaid dress. I smiled for photos. I gave a brief speech at the rehearsal dinner about how happy I was for Madison and Kyle. I gave them a gift. A set of all-clad cookware I'd bought on sale at Williams-Sonoma. $220. Madison opened it at the reception and said, "Oh, nice." We registered for the Cuisinart set, but this is fine too. I didn't stay for the whole reception. I left at 10 p.m., drove home, changed into sweatpants, and watched Netflix. The next day, June 16, 2025, Madison called me at 11:47 a.m. I almost didn't answer, but I did. "Rachel? Hey, I need to ask you something." I braced myself. Kyle and I are going to Hawaii for our honeymoon next month. We're leaving July 22nd for 10 days. Okay. Mom's going to watch our apartment while we're gone. Water the plants, get the mail, that kind of thing. Okay. But she hurt her back last week and she's having trouble with stairs. Our apartment is on the 3rd floor. Can you do it instead? I closed my eyes. Madison, I have work. I can't take time off to water your plants for 10 days. You don't have to take time off. Just stop by after work. It's 15 minutes. Your apartment is 40 minutes from mine. So it's 40 minutes. Can you do it or not? Why can't Kyle's family do it? They live in Fort Collins. That's too far. And you didn't ask any of your friends? I'm asking you. You're my sister. There it was again. You're my sister. The phrase she only used when she needed something. I'll think about it. I need to know by tomorrow. We leave in 5 weeks. I'll let you know. She hung up. I sat on my couch and I thought about everything. The hospital appointment she'd refused to help with. The $600 she'd never repaid. The bachelorette party I couldn't afford that she'd guilt-tripped me about. The Christmas gift she'd never given me. The wedding where she'd complained about my gift. And now she wanted me to drive 40 minutes each way every day for 10 days to water her plants. I texted her the next morning, "I can't do it. I have too much going on at work. You'll need to find someone else." She called immediately. "Are you serious?" "Yes. Rachel, I'm your sister. I'm asking you for one favor." "It's not one favor, Madison. It's 10 days. It's 80 minutes of driving per day. It's gas money. It's time I don't have. I would do it for you. That was a lie. Madison wouldn't drive 5 minutes out of her way for me, let alone 40. Find someone else, I said. You're unbelievable. She hung up. 30 minutes later, my mother called. Rachel, Madison told me you refused to watch her apartment. I didn't refuse. I said I can't do it. Why not? Because I work full-time and I don't have time to drive to her apartment every day for 10 days. It's 15 minutes. It's 40 minutes from my apartment. Each way. So that's 80 minutes per day, 10 days in a row, in the middle of her honeymoon. I can't do it. You're being selfish. I'm being realistic. Madison has done so much for you. I laughed. Actually laughed. Like what, Mom? What has Madison done for me? She's your sister. She loves you. She refused to lend me her car when I needed to go to the hospital. That was different. How? She needed her car that day. For what? To go shopping with you. Don't take that tone with me. I'm not taking a tone. I'm telling you the truth. Madison has never helped me. Not once. And I'm done pretending otherwise. You're going to regret this. Maybe, but I doubt it. She hung up. On July 22nd, 2025, Madison left for Hawaii. I don't know who ended up watching her apartment. She didn't tell me and I didn't ask. On August 10th, 2025, at 3:47 p.m., I was at my desk at work when my phone started ringing. Madison's name lit up the screen. I declined the call. She called again immediately. I declined again. She called a third time. I turned my phone face down and ignored it. Over the next 90 minutes, she called me 38 times. At 5:15 p.m., when I was packing up to leave work, I finally answered. What, Madison? Oh my God, finally. Where have you been? At work. What do you want? I need your help. With what? Kyle and I just found out we're being evicted from our apartment. I sat down. What? The landlord is selling the building. We have 30 days to move out. We need a place to stay while we find a new apartment. Okay. And? Can we stay with you? I almost dropped the phone. Absolutely not. Rachel, we have nowhere else to go. Stay with Mom and Dad. They don't have room. Dad turned the guest room into a home gym. Stay with Kyle's parents. They live in Fort Collins. Kyle works in Denver. That's an hour commute. That's not my problem. Rachel, please. Just for a few weeks. A month at most. No. Why not? Because I live in a one-bedroom apartment. There's no space. We'll sleep on the couch. No. You're really going to let your sister be homeless? You're not homeless. You have 30 days to find a place. We can't find a place that fast. Then you should have been paying attention to your lease. This isn't our fault. And it's not my responsibility. I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're asking. She hung up. 2 minutes later, my mother called. Rachel, Madison told me you refused to let her and Kyle stay with you. That's correct. They're being evicted. They're not being evicted. Their building is being sold. They have 30 days notice. That's plenty of time to find a new place. They need help. They need to figure it out themselves. You have space. I have a one-bedroom apartment. They can sleep in the living room. No, they can't. Why are you being so cruel? I'm not being cruel. I'm maintaining boundaries. This is your sister we're talking about. The same sister who wouldn't lend me her car when I needed to go to the hospital? The same sister who borrowed $600 and never paid me back? The same sister who gave me nothing for Christmas while I spent $75 on her? That sister. Silence. You're holding grudges. I'm remembering patterns. Family is supposed to help each other. Then maybe Madison should have helped me when I needed it. That was different. It wasn't different, Mom. It was exactly the same. And I'm done pretending otherwise. I hung up. Over the next week, Madison called me 14 more times. I didn't answer. My mother called 9 times. I didn't answer those either. On August 18th, 2025, Madison sent me an email. Subject, please read. Rachel, I know you're angry at me. I know I haven't been the best sister. But Kyle and I are desperate. We've applied to 12 apartments and been rejected from all of them because our credit isn't great. We're running out of time. Please let us stay with you. Just for a few weeks until we figure something out. I'm begging you. Madison. I read the email twice. Then I replied, Madison, you and Kyle make a combined $168,000 a year. If you've been rejected from 12 apartments because of bad credit, that's a you problem, not a me problem. You have options. You can get a cosigner. You can pay a larger deposit. You can look in cheaper areas. What you can't do is expect me to house you after years of refusing to help me when I needed it. Figure it out. Rachel. She didn't reply. On September 1st, 2025, Madison and Kyle moved in with our parents. They converted the home gym back into a guest room. On September 15th, I got a text from my father, your mother, and I are very disappointed in you. I didn't respond. On October 3rd, 2025, exactly 1 year after Madison had refused to lend me her car, I was sitting in my apartment when someone knocked on my door. I opened it. Madison was standing there, crying. Can I come in? I hesitated. Then I stepped aside. She sat on my couch. I sat in the chair across from her. What's going on? I asked. Kyle and I are getting divorced. I didn't say anything. It's been bad for a while. The eviction was the final straw. We've been fighting nonstop. He moved out last week. He's staying with a friend. I'm sorry. Are you? Yes. I didn't want your marriage to fail. But you didn't help us when we needed it. No, I didn't. Why? I looked at my sister. Really looked at her. She was 30 years old, sitting in my apartment, asking me why I hadn't saved her. Because you've never helped me, I said. Not once. And I realized I was spending my whole life trying to earn your love by being useful. And it wasn't working. So I stopped. I do love you. Maybe. But not enough to lend me your car when I needed to go to the hospital. Not enough to pay back the money you borrowed. Not enough to give me a Christmas gift. Not enough to treat me like I mattered. She was crying harder now. I didn't realize how bad I was. I know. Can we start over? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Not right now, I said. Maybe someday. But not right now. She nodded. She stood up. She walked to the door. For what it's worth, she said, I'm sorry. I know. She left. I sat in my quiet apartment, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty for saying no. It's been 6 months since that conversation. Madison and Kyle's divorce was finalized in March 2026. She moved into a studio apartment in Lakewood. We text occasionally. Short, surface-level messages. How are you? Good. You? Good. We're not close. We may never be close. But I'm okay with that. My mother still calls me every few weeks. She still mentions how hurt Madison is. How hurt she is. How I should forgive and forget. I listen. I say I understand. And then I go back to my life. The lesion on my brain is still stable. I get an MRI every 6 months. Dr. Patel says it's definitely benign. I'll probably have it for the rest of my life, but it's not dangerous. My migraines are controlled with medication. I'm healthy. I'm fine. I'm 28 years old now. I make $94,000 a year. I have $22,000 in savings. I own my car outright. I have a life I built myself without anyone's help. And I learned something important. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because you share DNA. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been the person everyone expects to help but no one helps back, leave a comment. Tell me your story. Hit like if you believe boundaries aren't cruelty. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. And comment where you're watching from and what time it is right now. Take care of yourselves. And remember, the people who call you selfish for having boundaries are usually the ones who benefited from you having none.